What's up, guys? Teacher Paul here, and today we have a video request. This is straight from Twitch. The first person who comes on to chat and engages with me gets a free request. But if you want to request a video, buy me a coffee. Anyways, this is from Krosmar, and thank you so much, Krosmar, for requesting this. This is Volvo's big mistake: losing Norway's oil. What? Let's check this out. How did Volvo lose? Wait, what? Let's see.
Volvo, the once venerable titan of the Swedish auto industry that is now playing catch-up with the rest of the world. There is a little known...
By the way, this is from a channel called Business Casual. Link is in the description if you want to check it out without my reaction.
...story about Volvo, and that is how they almost came to own the majority of Norway's oil.
Wow.
In this video, we're gonna see how Volvo's pride cost them billions of dollars and the wealth of an entire nation.
What?
This video is brought to you by Skillshare, where you can watch my 2 classes on how the stock market works. Sweden during the 1920s was a country on the rise. It had remained neutral during the First World War, and while Europe was getting down to business, the Swedes were selling incredible amounts of iron to both sides, which of course kick-started their economy incredibly well. One of the most popular iron products the Swedes were exporting were ball bearings, and they were mostly made by one company, SKF. Sales during and after the First World War were so high that SKF just did not know what to do with all that money. They invested in numerous side projects, and one of them was to build a Swedish car factory. The project was aptly named Volvo, which is Latin for I roll. Starting in 1927, the Volvo OV4 began rolling off the production lines, and while it wasn't an immediate success, Volvo's first-mover advantage helped it tremendously over the next decade. The company quickly expanded into trucks, which were much more successful, and became very popular outside of Sweden as well. During the Second World War, Sweden played the exact same game, selling iron to both the Allies and the Axis powers, which of course worked to Volvo's benefit.
Come on.
Not only did Volvo produce vast amounts of trucks for the Swedish army, its factories were never bombed, and so it was uniquely positioned after the war to supply the rest of the world. The post-war boom for Volvo made it a familiar name not only across Europe, but also in America from the 1950s onwards.
Yeah, Volvo is pretty
famous. They were opening as many new
famous.
factories as they could afford, but for some people, like Volvo's CEO, the speed just wasn't enough. Compared to other automotive giants like Ford or GM, Volvo was too small to really compete on the world stage for long. He realized that Volvo needed extreme amounts of capital to sustain their success over the next few decades, and he had several ideas on how to do that. First, he tried to merge with several other smaller manufacturers, but nobody was biting. Saab, the other major Swedish car manufacturer, was approached by Volvo, and it
I've never heard of Saab. Is it a popular car today, or does it not exist anymore? Saab.
looked close to striking a merger deal, but that was scrapped in the last minute as well. Volvo then went out of country, trying to partner with Renault in France, but that also fell through at the negotiation table. Volvo had plans to launch a new 700 series, an executive car that would offer a high-end option for the American market, and with profits increasing by 61% in 1978, Volvo looked like a solid growth company. Unfortunately, it lacked the cash to finance the new series. Growing ever more desperate, Volvo's CEO looked in a rather surprising direction, across the border into neighboring Norway. Now at the time, Norway was looking to make a considerable shift in their economy. Norway lacked any industrial strength, and in fact, it had only become a sovereign country a few decades before. Norway and Sweden were once a combined state, but independence in the toll of 2 world wars had left Norway struggling to keep up.
Dang.
In 1978, Volvo took a...
You can see how Norway came along, right? Now, Norway is almost or probably the richest country, or actually going towards being the richest country in the world. At least from what the videos that I've seen. Correct me if I'm wrong, though.
A remarkable path, and approached Norway with a deal that was unprecedented at the time. Volvo were willing to sell off 40% of the company's shares to Norway, In return, Volvo would receive 20 million Swedish kroner, the equivalent of $80 million.
20 or 200
of
million?
course, weren't exactly flush with cash, so they presented a counteroffer. Norway was prepared to give 10% of the proceeds from the offshore Oseberg oil field located in the North Sea. Now, that oil field had only just been
10%.
discovered in 1979, and it had yet to begin any sort of drilling. While Volvo's CEO was no doubt a visionary and saw the merits of the deal, the Swedish shareholders were not amused with the offer. Many of the deal's opponents protested publicly, saying that Sweden was selling off its national interests for magic beans from Norway. It is worth noting
Magic beans from Norway. Guys, how much is the oil, Norway's oil right now? It's 1 point something trillion, right? They would have had 100 and something 70 billion or something. Dang, Volvo. Magic beans from Norway. Definitely magic. Oh my goodness. That is crazy. Does anybody know the amount, what it's worth now? They would have had 10% of it?
that of the 3 unprospected areas in which Volvo would have an interest, none of them were showing any
crazy.
signs of potential oil
That's
at
crazy.
the time, just cheap gas. In the end, a shareholder vote
Cheap
was
gas.
held, and in fact 60% voted in favor of the deal. Unfortunately, in order for the deal to be accepted, it needed a supermajority of 66%.
What?
In other words, the deal was rejected.
That's
Both
crazy.
Volvo's CEO and the Norwegian Prime Minister at the time said that the decision was regrettable. And keep in mind, Norway was prepared to change 21 laws in order to make this deal happen.
Why did Norway want Volvo so much, though? That is crazy, isn't it? They were going to change 21 laws, and they insisted in Volvo taking the deal. So 66% is because it's 2/3, right? 2/3 had to be on board. Dang. Oh man, they must have regretted it so much.
Just a few years later, the Oseberg oil field struck black gold, and from then on, Norway's oil production skyrocketed.
How many years later? Just a few years later. It doesn't say how many years.
Black gold, and from then on, Norway's oil production skyrocketed, peaking in output in 1997.
Wow.
The reserves measured at Oseberg came to
510,000.
around 350 million cubic meters of oil, the equivalent of 2.3 billion barrels
Wow.
from just one location.
Just
Although fluctuating oil prices make things hard to calculate, that is somewhere in the vicinity of $140 to $200 billion worth of oil. And that doesn't even take into account the vast natural gas reserves also present in the area.
Wow.
Since rejecting the deal, Volvo has sadly not had the best run. They never managed to acquire their much-needed capital and were eventually eclipsed by the likes of Acura, Lexus and Subaru. Eventually, Volvo sold off their car division to Ford for $6.5 billion in 1999. Ford
Dang.
struggled to support the floundering car brand for less than 10 years, before selling Volvo at a staggering loss to a Chinese company for just $1.5 billion in 2010.
Oh my
Volvo
goodness.
has done well in the past decade under new management, rising to a $30 billion valuation last year, but when compared to Norway's oil, well, it's difficult to compete. What's not difficult, though, is learning about the stock market on Skillshare. The 2 investment courses I made on Skillshare are going to teach you all about how stocks work and how shareholders can make mistakes like the one Volvo did. You can watch my classes for free right now if you're one of the first 500 people to register with the link in the description, which will give you access to Skillshare's vast selection of courses on any topic you might be interested in. Once you've signed up there, you should also follow me on Instagram to watch the awesome teasers I post for every upcoming video. We're going to hear each other again in 2 weeks. Until then, stay smart.
Dang. That is absolutely insane. It's not only crazy, it's insane. It's insane. Dang. Volvo made a huge mistake. Dang. Always bet on black. Yeah, that's a casino reference, I would say. Volvo could have been the richest company in the world now. Indeed, 100%. Dang. So what is the valuation now? Something 1 point. There's a site, right, that shows Norway's oil and how much it's valued now. It's up in the trillions. They could have had 200 billion. Oh my goodness. Man, I feel sorry for the CEO because he believed in it. And I feel sorry for all those 60% who voted because they believed in it too. Wow. Yeah, man. See how things turn. And now they could buy Volvo with a 0.1%. That's crazy. Wow. There's so many crazy stories coming from Norway. Thank you so much, Crowsmar, for requesting this video. And guys, don't forget, if you're first on Twitch, you can request one video. You just need to redeem it with your channel points. And yeah, go over to Buy Me Coffee if you want to request a video. Just Buy Me Coffee, request a video. Click over here or click over here to see my Norway playlist. Take care. Bye-bye.